Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and today, a small show, very small show. I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately. We have a small show today, and then we still end up running 60 minutes. It's because I talk a lot. You know, it's because I talk a lot. That's the problem. But it's not a problem because when you're on a podcast, you got to talk, right? You don't want dead air. You don't want silence. You got to talk. And that's what happens is I talk. So, you know, that's what a podcast is about, right? Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. Got a fun little show planned for you guys today. We are obviously going to talk about all the news coming out of the world of football. And I also put together a fun little segment today. It's called the Next Step segment. And what the Next Step segment is about is all of the teams that have yet to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, teams that have not won the Super Bowl yet. We are going to talk about their last appearance in the Super Bowl. And then there are some teams on this list that have yet to play in a Super Bowl. Okay? And we're going to talk about and me giving my opinions on what these teams can do to make that next step to hoisting a Lombardi Trophy. Now, the big question is, and I was thinking about this the other day. I know this is kind of weird to think about, but, and I want to know if you guys have ever thought about this. So anybody watching live, leave a comment in the comment section right now, in the chat, whatever. Anybody watching this and recording, leave it in the comment section. Have you ever thought about when the NFL is going to stop numbering Super Bowls and just call it the Super Bowl, right? So, for example, we're on the road to Super Bowl 61. Do you think the NFL stops numbering them once we get to Super Bowl 100? Like, I don't know why I've oddly thought about this the other day. I was like, do they stop calling it, giving it a number once they get to a certain number? Do they? Are they going to? I mean, I know we're about 39 years away from the 100th Super Bowl. 40 years, 39, 40 years, somewhere around there. But do they just get to the point where they just call it the Super Bowl? It's so stupid to think about, right? But for everybody that knows me, I overthink things. Obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, yeah. It's there. I overthink things. I worry too much. All that. And when something gets put in my mind, I'm like, man. And I will dwell on that for hours upon hours, upon hours, upon hours, upon days, upon days, upon days, upon weeks, sometimes. And it sucks. It is the one of the worst feelings ever. Because you just want to kind of shake the thought. And it's like, it's just some of the things are just dumb to even be thinking about. But this guy right here does all that. And sometimes it pans out to be a good thing. Not, to be honest, sometimes the overthinking, the obsessive compulsive disorder, the overanalyzing things, sometimes it pays off. Sometimes. But not all the time. Sometimes it's just a mind wrencher. I wanted to say another word, but we're going to keep it clean here. Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. We're going to go through the news. We're going to do the next step segment today. Before we get into all that, guys, please make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub Podcast on social media. After we get off air here today, TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod, you're going to hit that follow button. Over on the YouTube, you're going to hit subscribe. That's how you follow on the YouTube. And on Twitch, you hit that follow button at the Huddle Hub Podcast. If you're not watching on Twitch, head over to the Twitch, hit that follow button. All of our social media outlets and links are in the Twitch bio. You click on the one you desire to go to. I know not everybody uses all social media outlets. There's been a bunch of people that I've talked to in the past weeks, months, and probably a year and they've said, oh, I don't use TikTok. I don't use Instagram anymore. I don't watch YouTube. I mean, so many people don't use every social media outlet. So you can click on the one you desire to go to and help us build the Huddle Hub podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. Speaking of the NFL offseason, let's get into the news portion of the day. All teams are at OTAs right now, which is exciting. And today is the day. Today is the day where we are a month away exactly from all 32 teams reporting to training camp. We are getting closer to the kickoff of the 2026 NFL season, and I am super excited about it. Don't get me wrong. I like baseball. I do. Baseball is like my second love sport, okay? I love baseball. It's my second love sport. I played more baseball as a kid than I did football, okay? I really didn't play much football. My football career spans of when I was younger in like 7th, 8th grade. I tried out for a team called the A's. Okay, now the city I'm in, it was the city name where I'm at, and the mascot nickname was the A's. The Athletics, the A's, whatever you want to call them, right? And that's where you're at the point where it's like weight restrictions. Like you have the 90-pound team, the 100-pound team, the 110 team, the 130 team, right? And I obviously had to try out for the 130 team because I was a big kid. I was a big kid. Not big in height, but big in size. And, yeah, I weighed about 150 pounds in 8th grade. So they said, go play high school ball. Well, it was too late for me to join the high school freshman team that I would have went to in 7th grade. So in 8th grade, I joined the high school freshman team. And 3 weeks into the training camp, I broke my arm. I was supposed to be the starting tight end, starting defensive end. Broke my arm. I was out for 8 weeks. Recorded about 3 tackles, 2 on special teams, 1 on defense, because I was back late in the year. About week 7, I came back from injury. And, yeah. And then my 9th grade year, I found the love of music, started playing the drums, and, yeah. Made it through training camp football, and I was like, I want to kind of go towards the music thing. Never fell out of love with football. Never did. But I went towards the music thing. Okay. Now, as far as baseball, I played more baseball. I played about 6 years of in-house baseball, and if you don't know what in-house baseball is it's an organization that gets together, and they form a league of about 6 to 8 teams. And the organization that I was a part of, we had 8 teams. And every team wore a represented color shirt. So there was a blue team, a red team, a purple team, a white team, a black team, a yellow team. And we all had our own nicknames, right? So I was part of the Yankees, the Reds, the Phillies, the Mets. Like we named our teams, right? Won 3 consecutive championships, undefeated. And I actually won league MVP the one year for the most home runs in the league. And in the championship game of that year, I blasted a home run over the one fence of the park that we were playing at. And I felt like a big leader because of how far I hit that ball. Well, let's just say I hit it over the fence, and there was a store right behind the fence, right? It legitimately went over the store and bounced across the street to the supermarket that was there. And one of the parents ran to get that ball because they felt like I needed to have that ball. They didn't see anything like that from that point on. So it was like one of my big moments playing baseball. And that's as far as I got in baseball. I never joined a traveling league, never played high school ball, So I was on the verge of musicianship. Fell in love with playing the drums, and yeah, retired from drumming back in 2020 when I really seriously started having back issues after a back surgery, and yeah, Now I'm 6 years into podcasting, and I love it. I love every moment of it. I love being here for shows. I try not to miss shows. And if you guys were wondering, a couple weeks ago when I did the Sunday show, I had an incident that happened 2 days beforehand. I can now announce what that incident was. I was at work, and I suffered a dog attack. I got bitten by a dog 3 times. And I got a nice little scar on the pinky finger, had 3 stitches in the pinky finger. Got bit on the back of my left arm. You've probably seen the bruising in the past couple shows that I've done, and I got bit on the left leg. So I'm fully about 100% recovered physically. But did it help my cause mentally? Nah, not really. Not really. Still a little bit at work with it, but I'm sure in due time I'll get past it. I'm sure in due time. But that's not what we're here for. You guys just learned a little bit about me. There you go. If you guys are wondering about me and wondering who I'm about and what I'm about outside of this realm, you just learned a little bit about me for the first 15 minutes of the Huddle Hub podcast here on the Tuesday edition. Let's get into the news happening around the world of football. The announcement that came out on Monday afternoon, that cornerback of the Detroit Lions, Terrion Arnold, has been released. He is the first 2024 first-round draft pick for their respective team to be released. Now, you're probably wondering, why did Terrion Arnold get released by Detroit? Well, last week, Terrion Arnold was arrested on 8 felony accounts, 4 for kidnapping and 4 for robbery. Now, again, he's innocent until proven guilty, obviously. He has these allegations against him. He's going through court and everything like that. He made a $1 million bond. Now, as far as we last heard, his lawyer was fighting for him to not have to wear an ankle bracelet because he's going to be at home. But the problem is he won't be able to play football with an ankle bracelet on. And that's why his lawyer is fighting for him to not have that ankle so he could play football. But after his bond was made for the $1 million, the Detroit Lions turned around and ended up releasing him. So Terrion Arnold is currently a free agent. Do I see Terrion Arnold playing football this year? No. He's got to get past this personal stuff. We have talked way too much on this show about these young players going out and doing stupid stuff and getting themselves in trouble. They are part of the 1% that gets to play in this league, that has that, I'm trying to think of the word to say here. They have the privilege to play in the NFL. This is just like MLB, NBA, NHL players. They have that privilege. They're part of that 1%. And you're going to go and squander it by doing stupid stuff. Making millions of dollars. And you're going to go and squander it by doing stupid stuff. Something has got to change with some of these young players. They have all the opportunities to go and fix their problems as well. Because the teams, these teams have resources for players. We even seen it, for example, on the quarterback's documentary. Kirk Cousins was having some mental issues because of playing quarterback. He has so much on his mind. He sees a therapist every week. And that helps him keep work at work, and he doesn't take it home with him. Now, I know that's a different story, but it's the fact. These players, I get it. You want to live your life, but live it safely. Live it smart. Understand the fact that there's somebody out there that wishes they were in your shoes at this moment. Players that did not get drafted. They are sitting in that free agent pool, hoping they even have a chance to go play in the UFL, the CFL, or the International Arena Football League. But nobody wants to sign them. And they might be just as good as you. Maybe you're a little better than them. But you have that opportunity and they don't. And you're going to do stuff like stupid stuff to squander that opportunity. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just me getting older. I'm going to be 40 in 2 weeks. And as I get older, I become more patient in life. I don't know. But it's just mind-boggling to the fact that they have this opportunity and you're going to squander it by doing stupid stuff. Use your resources. And even if you have a bad thought on your mind, that is what patient doctor confidentiality is for. You have a bad thought on your mind. People have urges to do stupid stuff sometimes. Talk it out with somebody on the professional level and let them help you figure it out. Because 9 times out of 10, you are not going to be able to figure it out yourself, and that's okay. Hell, like I just said, I'm going to be 40 in 2 weeks. We're going to be celebrating. I don't know if we're going to celebrate my birthday on the Tuesday edition. My birthday is on a Tuesday, by the way. And we are going to have a Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. We are. We're not doing the show just because it's my birthday. I'm only turning 40. It's another day. But go talk to somebody. Like I said, as I get older, I get more patient. But when I was younger, I just wanted to go. And do. And we all have urges. We're human. Things happen. But if you know it's something that's going to get you in trouble, seek somebody that can help you get through it so you don't put yourself in the position of getting in trouble. There are many resources out there nowadays for many different things. And there is no shame in using said resources. No shame whatsoever. So don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to do it. For many things. We're going to have to see how this thing turns out. Obviously, I don't feel like Terry Arnold's going to play a snap of football in 2026. And again, we're going to have to follow this story and see what furthers about it because this is not over. This whole thing is not over. But we're going to have to keep our eye on it, and we'll talk about it here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. So, we'll continue following that. Other story that came out yesterday, former All-Pro running back Chris Johnson. He announced that he has an ALS diagnosis. He did a full interview with Michael Strahan on, I believe, Good Morning Today, or one of the talk shows that Michael Strahan is on, did a full interview. And Chris Johnson, he now speaks through an electronic board. And I'm going to say this. Number one, it is very sad to hear about this diagnosis. I wish nothing but the best. Us at the Huddle Hub Podcast here wish nothing but the best for Chris Johnson. Nothing but the best. This diagnosis is obviously nothing to mess around with. But the great thing to see is he seems like he's in very, very good spirits. Yes, he's talking through a digital board, and it's very impressive how he controls that thing. Watching that interview and watching him answer questions and everything through that digital board is very impressive. Like, hats off to Chris Johnson for being that strong, because some people, and I'll say this, like myself, I don't know if I'd be able to handle it as well as he is. But he is handling things like a warrior. Hats off to Chris Johnson, and I wish nothing but the best for him and hope everything continues to be on the uprise and success for him. To see somebody in that position be in such high spirits is amazing. It's great to see. And Chris Johnson, we here at the Huddle Hub Podcast wish you nothing but the best. And see you continue your journey in life. I hope we do get to see more of his journey in life and to see how he grows as a person and handling this diagnosis, because it's a very serious diagnosis. If you don't know what ALS is, go look it up. There's many articles out there and a lot of information about it. Go read up on it. It is not fun to deal with. I can imagine. But he is handling things like a freaking warrior. And I applaud him for it. So, Chris Johnson, keep up the fight, man. Keep up the fight. So, Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, he won the Stuart Scott Inspire Award for his support in global autism community. So, as we know, the Philadelphia Eagles, they have a autism run and walk event that they do every year. The organization is very big on autism awareness and very big in the community and supporting the autism community. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And Jeffrey Lurie earning the Stuart Scott Inspire Award for his autism community support. Just amazing to see. Congratulations to Jeffrey Lurie for winning this award and continued success in helping out and supporting the autism community. I'll say this right now. I've met many people that are autistic, and they are some unique and amazing human beings. Some amazing, unique human beings. And don't ever treat somebody different just because they have something going on or they have a diagnosis, right? Don't treat anybody different. They're human. They're human beings. Treat them as they would want to be treated, and that is as a human being. Like I said, I've met many people that have autism on many different levels. Whether it's being mute, whether they have to use something to speak for them because they don't, have the capabilities or want or need of speech, mobility, everything. I've met people that have autism, and they are some of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my life. And they just want to be treated the same way you'd want to be treated. They want to be treated as a human being. I don't even want to say normal, because I don't think there is such thing as normal. We all have our own unique things about us as human beings. And the people that are diagnosed with autism that I've met are some of the most unique and inspiring human beings I've ever met in my life. And man, they could be very inspirational, and they can end up being role models. They could do anything they want in life as long as they want to do it. And who are we to hold them back from doing so? Who are we? Nobody. We are nobody. We cannot hold anybody back from doing what they want to accomplish, especially with the diagnosis of autism. All they need is our support, and that's it. They're strong human beings that they know they can do it. And if they have that little bit of doubt, lift them up, help them, be there for them. Because guess what? They'd be there for you in a heartbeat. They would be. No questions asked. I know this news segment has been a little emotional today, but man, stuff to talk about, and that's all we got for the news. That's it. That's all we got for the news today, guys. Let's go take about a 30 to 45 second break here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. We'll be right back after this, and we're going to get into the next step segment. All right, guys, make sure you're heading out over to the Huddle Hub Podcast over on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod, hitting that follow button and hitting that subscribe button over on the YouTube channel. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio as well at the Huddle Hub Podcast. Click on the one you desire to go to because I know not everybody uses every social media outlet, and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. So I'm sitting here and we kind of got caught up a little bit longer on the commercial break because I'm trying to set my fantasy baseball. And there's a lot of good players on the free agency. So, like, I just dropped Brandon Nimmo of the Mets and picked up Brandon Marsh of the Philadelphia Phillies. But now I'm kind of kicking myself because I'm like, crap. I just kind of messed myself up a little bit at third base. Now, I do have Jazz Chisholm from the Yankees, but he's a day-to-day guy. But I think he might have just gotten cleared to come back, and I think he might be playing tonight. Josh Chisholm is not a starter today for the Yankees. Okay, never mind. The notification kind of went off. So now I got to go out and pick up another third baseman because I kind of screwed myself a little bit here. But I'm on a 3-week win streak right now, which is great. I'm on a 3-week win streak, and yeah. Like, I'm kind of like, what did I just do to myself? Like, why did I do that? So crazy. Like, I don't know why I just did that to myself. Bo Bichette from the Mets is available. But the Mets are kind of crap in the bed right now. Colson Montgomery is available. He has 20 home runs this season. He's 15th ranked and 4th ranked in batting in the position. Play shortstop and third base. Be a help at shortstop. Because I think I'm a little rough on the edges at shortstop. I have Trey Turner. Yeah. So it'd probably be best. I'm thinking about dropping Brandon Nimmo. He only has 8 home runs this year. I think dropping Brandon Nimmo would probably be the best bet. He's been okay, but he hasn't helped me out too much this year. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up Colson Montgomery or Bo Bichette. I mean, Bo Bichette's hitting good. 251, 10 home runs this season. Cole Montgomery, I think he has, Bo Bichette has 10 home runs. Cole Montgomery has 20 home runs. So we're going to go ahead and pick up Cole Montgomery. We're going to drop Brandon Nimmo. Because, again, Nimmo has not done too much for me. So we're going to drop Brandon Nimmo. Pick him up. And then Cole Montgomery could be my third baseman for today. Man. And I still have a pretty good lineup. I mean, I'm going to have to write down who I have and kind of reassess my situation here. But I don't want to get rid of Alec Burleson because he's third ranked in his position. And he has 13 home runs on the year. He actually has a pretty good average of 280. And Jazz Chisholm, there is no way I'm getting rid of Jazz. Like, Jazz is one of those guys, like, early in the season, he was hitting pretty good. He has a 222 average at 12 home runs. He has 42 runs scored this year, 33 RBIs. So he's kind of killing it. No way I can get rid of Jazz Chisholm. But when you look at your fantasy, when you see those green bubbles next to your player, you know that's a good thing. You know that's a dang good thing. So I'm pretty set up in my lineup now for tonight. We're going to run with this one, and then I'm going to reassess my situation for July 1st. But right now, I'm beating my opponent 49-2. My opponent had a rough Monday. Really rough Monday. And actually, I'm on a 4-week win streak. Because I was 3-6. And I was in 9th place. And now I'm tied for 3rd in the last 4 weeks, which is nuts. Crazy bump up. Crazy bump up. So, all right, guys, let's get into the next step segment. Okay. So this is going to be about the teams that have never raised the Lombardi Trophy. Team that has never won the Super Bowl. Now we're going to talk about the last time the team played in the Super Bowl. And we're also going to talk about the teams on this list that have never played in a Super Bowl. And we're going to give our opinion on what these teams could do to make that next step in their current situations. Okay, so let's kick things off with the most recent team on this list that has never won the Super Bowl, and that is the Cincinnati Bengals. The last time they made a trip to the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 56 against the Los Angeles Rams, where they lost 23-20. It's very simple about the Cincinnati Bengals. They need to get their defense in line. We know that offense can score points. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I mean, that offense is somewhat of a powerhouse. Okay, they can put the points on the board. Not too long ago, though, they were putting up 30 points a game, but the problem is they were still losing. Why? Because of their defense. Now, they just lost Trey Hendrickson. He's out in Baltimore now. They still need to make some decisions on defense and fix their defense. We know that. So getting their defense in line would be a really good thing because then they put themselves in the position to run for the AFC North and possibly get themselves in a good position in the playoffs and get themselves in a good position to get back to the Super Bowl. Now, we know there's a lot of drama right now between the Bengals with Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow at one point was considering retirement because this team was just not looking good. And there was even talk about him possibly heading out to New York and playing for the Jets, getting traded. The Bengals need to get the defense together, and I think they'll get right back on track and put themselves in a position to get back into the Super Bowl and having the opportunity to finally hoist that Lombardi Trophy. Simple as that. Fix that defense. Our next team is the Atlanta Falcons. Their last appearance was in Super Bowl 51 against the New England Patriots in the infamous 28-3 game, where the Patriots came back and won the game 34-28 in overtime. Okay, now the Atlanta Falcons, number one, they need to figure out their quarterback situation. Okay, it's kind of an obvious thing. Michael Penix Jr. can possibly still be the future of this team. But what they did with him and Kirk Cousins the year that Kirk Cousins got signed and then they drafted him, they pushed Michael Penix into the mix right away because Kirk Cousins was having a rough year. And then the following year, Michael Penix becomes the starter, and it just did not look good in Atlanta. Were they flirting around the fact of winning the NFC South? Yes, they were. Why? Because the Panthers weren't that good. The Buccaneers kind of took a fall. And the Saints were just being the Saints because the Saints are not a complete team. So, yeah, the Falcons were flirting with it. But did you realistically think the Atlanta Falcons were going to win the NFC South in 2025? No. The consensus was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Carolina Panthers ended up pulling it out. So the Atlanta Falcons, number one, need to figure out their quarterback situation and get that in line. They have a great running back in Bijan Robinson. They have a pretty good receiving core. And they just signed Kyle Pitts to a new 3-year deal. The defense, not too shabby. So I think all revolves around that quarterback position, and they need to get that in line. And I think the Falcons could get themselves back on track and in the playoff hunt. And flirt with the fact of going back to the Super Bowl. And finally raising that Lombardi Trophy. So, next team on the list, speaking of the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers. The last time they made it to the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50, the year before the Atlanta Falcons. Now, they ended up losing to the Denver Broncos 24-10, as we've seen the downfall of Cam Newton in that football game. That was a rough watch when it came to the Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton. The Panthers were just rolling all year long. You've seen the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals just running side by side that season. And Carolina being the one to pull things out, making it to the Super Bowl. And you thought maybe this is their time. Now, we've seen the Panthers in the Super Bowl a few years before that. And it was like you kind of knew they made it. They were a good team, but it was not their time. Still a fairly new franchise. Now they were in the league for a little bit, going in against Denver. Cam Newton coming in, a young, hungry quarterback who just wanted to win. And you've seen it in him. He would do anything and everything that needed to be done. And it's almost like once they got to that finish line, it ran out of gas. And that's what happened. Because the offense just really couldn't get going in that game. The defense, surprisingly enough, that defense kind of fell on its face. And Denver ends up winning. Peyton Manning ends up retiring. The Carolina Panthers seem to be going in the right direction, though. They got a good receiving core. Tetra McMillan coming out, winning Rookie of the Year last year. Xavier Legette holding himself accountable and saying that he needs to have a better year in 2026 than he had in 2025. They're going to have a new look in the running game because Rico Dowdle's not there anymore. They are going to be relying on Chuba Hubbard. And the defense, Wharton is going to be a hell of a defensive tackle moving forward. That defensive line looks very strong. And the linebacking core looking strong as well. So I think this Carolina team is going to be a little better than they were in 2025. I could see them winning about 11 games and possibly winning the NFC South again. If you look at the NFC South and the way things are right now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers losing Mike Evans, things are looking a little bleak in Tampa Bay right now. Atlanta, again, they got to focus on that quarterback position. And the Saints, are they a complete team right now? I don't think so. Yeah, they just re-signed Cam on the defensive side of the ball. But I think right now, when you look at the NFC South, the Panthers might be the most put together team as far as that division. So, is this a year where the Panthers might flirt with going to the Super Bowl? Probably no. There's a lot better teams than the Panthers. But they are a team that's going to be in that running to win the NFC South this year because they've progressed over the past couple seasons, especially Bryce Young. So, our next team on the list, the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals' last appearance was in Super Bowl 43 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they lost 27-23. Now, Kurt Warner was the quarterback at the time. Okay, now it's a totally different picture out in Arizona. They went through their Kyler Murray thing. Kyler Murray's gone. Jacoby Brissett's the guy. They got Carson Beck on the bench. The Arizona Cardinals have a lot of things to figure out, and I don't think they're even going to come close. They are like the odd man out in the NFC West this year. Okay, now I was just recently talking to John about this today. about the NFC West, about the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, but we didn't mention the Cardinals. Why? Because the Cardinals are not much mentioning about right now. Now, I said to him, I think Seattle does take a step back this year. Do I think they make the playoffs? Yes. 11-6, 10-7, 6 or 7 seed in the playoffs. I don't think they win home field advantage or the NFC West. 6 or 7 seed? Yes. Playoffs? Yeah. But they're going to take a step back. The Rams, I think way too many people are putting the Rams on a pedestal right now. Yeah, they look great on paper. But the one team that people are forgetting about, and I think is going to win the NFC West this year, is the 49ers. Arizona Cardinals got a long way to go, and it's going to be a long while until we sit here and say they're going to make their next appearance in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 43, I would have to say they might start flirting with it around Super Bowl 63, 64. That's a 20 to 21 year split between the last time they had an opportunity for the Lombardi Trophy. Now, we've seen teams as in recent, like the New York Knicks, who just broke, a 50-year span of not winning the NBA championship. The Buffalo Sabres making the NHL playoffs for the first time in nearly 20 years. So we're starting to see some of those teams that have not made the playoffs or won a championship in a long time, winning championships, making the playoffs. The Arizona Cardinals, I think they're going to be on that list of teams that have that longevity of having an opportunity of the Lombardi Trophy and hoisting it for the first time. I think around Super Bowl 63, 64 is when we start thinking, okay, Arizona might be a contender now. They got a long road to go. They do. So I don't see them switching things overnight in 2026. I don't. Tennessee Titans are the next team on the list. The last time they were in the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 34 against the once St. Louis Rams. Yes, St. Louis Rams. Before the Rams went to Los Angeles, they were the St. Louis Rams. St. Louis Rams ended up winning that game 20-17 in the infamous 1-yard game. Okay, that game ended by 1 yard. Steve McNair throws a pass down the middle to Kevin Dyson, and Dyson tackled at the 1 yard line. Thus, the Rams win the Super Bowl. Now, we really haven't seen the Tennessee Titans flirt with getting into the Super Bowl since. They've had a couple playoff appearances, early exits in the wild card and divisional rounds. Haven't really gotten over the hump of getting to a conference championship game since. So Tennessee, I think a lot of people feel like Cam Ward might be the guy to get them over that hump. And I'll say this right now, he might be. But it's all about getting those weapons around him to do so. Cam Ward cannot do it on himself. Just because his name is Cam doesn't mean he's got to do the same thing another Cam like out in Carolina did. And that's take over everything. Get some compliments in there. Get some guys in there that can help him do it so he doesn't have to do it by himself. As we know, this is a team game. And yeah, sometimes, you go out to Atlanta a couple years ago when Michael Vick was there. Michael Vick kind of carried the team. Cam Newton carried the Panthers. You don't want Cam Ward being in that role. You want Cam Ward to be able to have the longevity of being in this league, and you want to make sure that he can do it in a comfortable, healthy way, and that is getting him guys to surround him and help him get to that point. I think it's going to be another couple years till we see the Tennessee Titans flirting with getting back into the Super Bowl, just like the Arizona Cardinals, but it seems like the Tennessee Titans are heading in the right direction. So, the Los Angeles Chargers, once at this time San Diego Chargers, Super Bowl 29 was their last appearance against the San Francisco 49ers, losing 49-26. Now, just last year when I made my predictions, I said the Chargers might go 15-2, 16-1. You looked at that schedule and you were like, man, they have such a complimented schedule. They can go run the table on this thing. But they didn't. They lost basically their whole quarterback room. They trouble with the wide receivers, offensive line. Everything fell apart super quick for the Chargers. And now that's being left the question, is Justin Herbert truly the guy out in Los Angeles? I know he's going to have a spotlight on him this year, and there's a possibility that the Chargers say, you know what, we got to move on from this guy. He's not doing it for us. So could we end up seeing a reset out in Los Angeles for the Chargers? I think the Chargers are in a position to where, yeah, we might see them in the playoffs, but another wild card exit. So I think they got a little bit of a road ahead of them to get back on track. And this just goes to prove, just because you bring a big-name coach in doesn't mean you're going automatically to the Super Bowl. Doesn't automatically mean that. That's why when the Giants ended up in making the moves that they did this year with their head coaching staff and everything like that, it's no guarantee with Harbaugh coming in. No guarantee. Look at the Chargers. They brought a Harbaugh in. Wild card exit. I think the Chargers are a little more stepped back than people think they are. And they're just up in that mix for the AFC West because they have a decent team. But I think the Chargers, things are going to get a lot more rough in Los Angeles, and it's going to be a longer drought for the Chargers. The Buffalo Bills, their last appearance was Super Bowl 28 against the Dallas Cowboys. It was their fourth straight appearance in the Super Bowl, losing to the Cowboys 30-13. A lot of expectations out there at New Highmark Stadium this year. A lot of expectations. Opening up that new stadium. Beautiful. Great. And of course, the first thing you want to do is add a Lombardi. But that was your goal and expectations at Old Highmark, to add a Lombardi into your trophy case. Now, there's no questions that Josh Allen is the guy out in Buffalo. No questions. There's no question that James Cook is the running back out in Buffalo. But the past couple of years, one thing I noticed with Buffalo is they toy around with their wide receiving core a little bit. Now, Keon Coleman, high expectations in year one, had a great year one. Came out in year two, had a little bit of a rough year two. What's going to go down with year three with him? Khalil Shakir had a mix of a year last year. Had a decent year, really good year, but his year was kind of up and down. So I think Buffalo needs to kind of focus on their receiving core this year and figure out what point of their defense is kind of mixed up. I think it's the defensive backfield out there. I think their front seven is good, but it's the defensive backfield they need to clean up a little bit. I think Buffalo is not too far off from earning another trip to the Super Bowl. And they just, and this is an obvious thing, they squandered that opportunity this past season. They did. The doors were opened for them to be in Super Bowl 60. And they squandered it. They were arguably the best team statistically in football, and they squandered it. So, I don't think Buffalo's too far off. And one of my early predictions was Eagles-Bills Super Bowl 61. So, we'll see. Last team out of the list that has made a Super Bowl, Minnesota Vikings. They've yet to win one, and they've been in a couple. Their last appearance, though, Super Bowl 11. We are talking 50 years that the Minnesota Vikings and the fans have been waiting to get into that spotlight. They lost to the Raiders 32-14 in their last appearance in Super Bowl 11. Minnesota Vikings, I think their big question is who's going to be the quarterback out there. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be the starter. I'll say that. I think Kyler Murray gets the opportunity. I think Kyler Murray does become the QB1 out there. And I would not look past the fact of the possibilities that if Kyler Murray ends up doing good and starts playing very, very good by, let's say, week 8, and looks like a guy that could take that team somewhere, J.J. McCarthy gets traded. That Minnesota team can become Kyler Murray's very quick. Could. I'm not saying it will, but it could. So, now on to the 4 teams that are on this list and the closest they've gotten to making a Super Bowl. Number 1, the Houston Texans. The closest they've gotten was the divisional round in 2025, where they lost to the New England Patriots 28-16. Again, this team was on a hot hand in the back end of 2025, had a huge opportunity to win against New England in that game, and they fell apart. You've seen it right in front of you, that team fall apart. Now, I think Houston is in a great position this year. They got a very complimentary schedule. And I even said to somebody yesterday that it would not surprise me or shock me that if Houston goes 14-3, 15-2, would not shock me at all. This team is a very strong team. Defensively, offensively, they're trying to pick things up. I wouldn't look past Houston having possibly the best record in football this year. It's just all about getting past that divisional round. Now, Houston is still a young franchise. They've been around since 2002. So they're still somewhat of a fairly young franchise. But they have high expectations. They know those first couple years were very rough. And now they're trying to make up for it. And they got a really, really good team. The other question is, what is CJ going to do? Because CJ Stroud, ever since his rookie season, has not had the best of luck. And Houston would love to get into that Lombardi Trophy game, that Super Bowl. So, next team, the Detroit Lions, the closest they've gotten was in 2023, the NFC Championship game. That's their last closest chance of getting into the Super Bowl, losing to the 49ers 34-31. As we know, the Lions, they had a big lead in that game, in that NFC title game. They took their foot off the gas. The 49ers ended up winning, ended up going to the Super Bowl. Detroit, since then, the high expectations. Number 1 seed the year after, losing that to Washington in the divisional round. Fell apart super quick. Injury bug just hit them. And then last year was just rough. Detroit's going to be a team that's going to be up there. The question is, are they going to be one of those teams that run for a Super Bowl this year? Because there's so many other good teams. I mean, it's like Detroit had a window of opportunity in front of them, and they just did not take it. And now that window has shut. Because other teams went out and did what they needed to do to get better. So now Detroit's got to keep up instead of play leader. And that's that. Jacksonville Jaguars, the last time they got close was in 2017 in the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots, 24-20 loss. Now, the crazy part about that year was the Jacksonville Jaguars have made a conference title game before in their inaugural season and ended up losing. In that same year, the Carolina Panthers were in their inaugural season and they lost in the NFC title game. The crazy part about this year that the Jaguars lost in the AFC title game was it was the year the Eagles won their first Super Bowl. We could have ended up seeing 2 teams playing against each other in that Super Bowl and the winner hoisting their very first Lombardi Trophy. But the Jaguars ended up slipping. They had a lead in that game. They had an opportunity to beat the Patriots and put them away, and they didn't take it. Took their foot off the gas, kind of like Detroit did in their NFC title game with San Francisco. Jacksonville, I don't think they're too far off. Had a great season last year, won the AFC South, ended up falling in the wildcard round to the Buffalo Bills. The question is Trevor Lawrence, can he stay consistent to what he did last year? Because that's one thing we have not seen from Trevor Lawrence in his career was consistency. Could he get on that track of being consistent? That's the thing they need to get, is Trevor Lawrence on consistency. And I think Jacksonville could be a very successful team and could be in the running in these next 10 years to hoist 1 or 2 Lombardi trophies. So, last but not least, the Cleveland Browns. Last time they came close was in 1990, AFC Championship game against the Denver Broncos, losing 37-21. I mean, like I've always said for the past couple of years, that Cleveland defense is ready. They just got to get the offense together. Now they have a little bit of a quarterback debacle because Deshaun Watson's back. He's practicing. But this became Shador's team last year. It's all about who they start at quarterback. Do you rip away and possibly hurt the confidence in Shador Sanders by giving it to Deshaun Watson for 1 year because Deshaun becomes a free agent next year? And by all means, Deshaun Watson becoming a free agent next year, you're not going to want to pay him. Cleveland, get away from it. Get away from it. It was a bad move to begin with. Get away from it. I say give the job to Shador, let him run this year, and let him make mistakes, everything like that. Who cares if you go 3-14, 2-15, 4-13, get the number one pick in the draft, get good positioning. You have all those draft picks you just got from the Rams in the Myles Garrett trade. Cleveland is in a great position whether they have success or fail on the amount of losing games. Cleveland is in a great position. The defense is ready. They're getting the offense going. Get it fully together and make the right decisions. That's what they need to do. But that's it for the Next Step segment here on the Huddle Podcast, and that means that is it for me today, guys. We are going to get out of here, but before we do, one more time, make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Podcast over on social media on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios at the Huddle Pod. Over on YouTube at the Huddle Pod, you're going to hit that subscribe button. Let me do this again. Over on TikTok, Instagram, Epic Studios. God dang it. Over on TikTok, Instagram, X, and on Epic Studios, you're going to hit that follow button. That's how you follow us. And over on the YouTube, you hit that subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod on all accounts, and on Twitch at the Huddle Podcast. All of our social media links are in the Twitch bio. That is how you find all of our social. I mean, you can go. God dang it. Let me start over one more time. Let's get out of here, guys. Before we do, make sure after the show you head over to TikTok, Instagram, X, and Epic Studios at the Huddle Hub Pod. Hit that follow button. Over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. That's how you follow on the YouTube. And, of course, all of our social media links are in the Twitch bio at the Huddle Hub Podcast. Click on the link that you desire to go to, because I know not everybody uses every social media, so you click on the one you want to go to and follow us on. And make sure you help us build the Huddle Podcast through the rest of the 2026 NFL offseason and beyond. If you want to follow me on social media, Metal Mike 714, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and on X. That's where you can find me. I don't do much personally, but you can still follow me because I do post stuff. Okay? That's where you find me. That's it for today, guys. We'll see you on the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Twitch and YouTube. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. I'll see you guys Sunday morning on the Sunday edition. Until then, have a great rest of your week, guys. Deuces.